Oh, hello. Live from the Hume Family Dungeon. My name's not available, and this is my special guest, my special brother, Will.
Hi.
Hi, Will.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
What are we doing here? We got the TFG Grand Prix.
All right, which stands for? You're allowed to
This
say
fucking guy.
Mm-hmm.
Every story has one of them, and certainly every movie does, every TV show.
I remember you've been calling it in every movie. This guy's this fucking guy.
It's a concept that is not unlike in wrestling. There's the OSW, old school wrestling review video podcast, and they have what's called a boys stable, where they, just watching through like old 80s and 90s wrestling, they find these minor guys. They're not the main
event.
Yeah, they're not the main heroes or villains. They're like
the
C grade
actors of the wrestling.
Yeah, so they have boys stables, but I think like movies typically have like a version of that, but it's actually in this case less glamorous. They can't be a principal cast member. It's not gender exclusive, despite this fucking guy
is used as a gender.
With like any guy, gal, non-binary pal. If Hollywood had the courage, to cast them in a role of like low moral fiber, much like how Karen is not gender specific. Like men can be Karens.
Yeah.
Children can be boomers. It's all an attitude.
Did I tell you about Boomerlennial?
No, well, I think it's self-evident. It's a millennial who acts like a boomer, but I think you just call him a boomer. So what I'm hoping to do in this podcast is that we'll watch movies. We will pick this fucking guy, from that movie and discuss our findings with the hope of one day crowning like an ultimate this fucking guy. Yeah. Because, like, think of it of, like, verbally, how it would be used, like, in a story, right? Like, I was going to my dance recital, and this fucking guy was pulled off in the middle of the road. It's just a bump along the way.
What do you think?
To the dance recital.
So we have somebody who's like a non-principal character, almost like a character actor. Practically, in some cases, it can even be a cameo. It can be...
Oh, definitely. Like, Matt Damon... has made like a nice career of appearing as like this fucking guy in Euro Trip. Like before we really get into it, like for some examples, like if we think of like TV, I think a lot of people have seen Breaking Bad.
Yes.
Who would you say is this fucking guy in Breaking Bad?
Skyler or Ted.
Those are great. I think Skyler is too much of a main principal cast member.
She basically.
But you're on the right track because I would say Marie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
because
like
Marie, the minerals.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's almost like a character function.
What about
it's
Hank?
Like this fucking guy.
Because I think of Hank in the first episode when he's sitting next to him at his birthday party.
It starts that way, but then he comes to be a main central player. Think of like his boss, who looks like just like an old nondescript guy.
Bogdan.
I don't know.
The guy with the eyebrows who owns the car wash?
Oh, that's a great choice. That's this fucking guy. He's shitty, obtrusive, and there's a general shame factor if you think of it like if you were talking about a movie you just saw for the first time, and you're like, who's your favorite character? And you're like, oh, Walter's former boss at the car wash.
Yeah,
like,
manager.
He's got... anyways, like... I think like it would be fun to take turns watching movies and then we talk about it, present our findings, and after about 8 rounds to do a tournament, thus the Grand Prix,
or 16 if we're feeling ambitious.
Well, I think like 16,
it's gonna
32, 24, 32.
Yeah,
let's get there. Let's get there.
I've never done a podcast that made it past 8 episodes.
If we get to 8, then we can do our first tournament, and find the first entrant into the ultimate Grand Prix of forgettable film characters, like like Seth Rogen in Donnie Darko. He doesn't figure into the end. He's just shitty. He's not like all that funny. and you're like, man, I heard Seth Rogen's in this movie.
Yeah.
And he just shows up to be, mean to a little girl.
Are we gonna have any limits on like new movies or old movies?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think it's
free flowing.
I mean, we here in the Human Family Dungeon have lots and lots of movies. We also have all the streaming services, because I was gonna say originally, we better,
Get
we
on
should
Disney
go through.
Plus.
No, where we go through all the movies, because there are many that our family owns that I've not seen.
We actually have like access to, so we have Netflix, we have Amazon, we have Disney Plus for a little while at least. We have the Criterion channel. Do we still have that?
Well,
not that we would use
so to
that
speak.
anyway.
We could, we
DVD
definitely could.
collection.
But I also, my own personal collection. But we, like, it would. I want to do every genre. Yeah, that's the thing. We have all this physical media. But I also wouldn't want to deprive us of the chance if, say, like, Dune comes out and we both see it, and then we get to talk about
Jason Momoa, my man.
Yeah, who's
or Josh Brolin.
Yeah. Well, who? Joss Whedon would probably be this fucking guy of the DC film universe.
DC and Marvel for some people, because he did.
Because Ultron was
both.
so bad. And he's not like the main antagonist.
And you notice how,
but I mean, he is to some people.
I wanted to bring this
up. I don't want to get into the weeds of like personal fucking guys, because I was going to say like, because like I always use that kind of energy towards like, this fucking guy shows up, like Mike Tyson. If he pops up, I'm like, this fucking guy. I don't want to deal with Mike Tyson.
But you just reminded me that it's like, regardless of whatever the Marvel stuff is, it's kind of telling, I realize now, that like Joss Whedon, like Avengers was a big movie, and Avengers 2 was a big movie. But like Jon Favreau kind of... Iron Man 2 wasn't good, so he went away. But he stayed, like, he continued working with Disney. Joss Whedon hasn't, like, worked with anybody that he's worked with since. Like, he hasn't done anything. And that's kind of suspicious, regardless of what you say about it, of, like, indicating that
number one feminist, according to, his own resume. But didn't mean to derail you, but like...
No, I was done.
Even within like the Avengers, I think like Hawkeye is probably this fucking guy.
Isn't that trickled over? Because like, in what way? Because I feel it's so tainted by like what you think of Jeremy Renner.
He becomes Jeremy Renner.
Becomes Hawkeye.
He's the Jeremy Renner's public persona is like the realization of Tim Heidecker's parody of a celebrity. Like especially with this glamour music project, but Ant-Man. Speaking of perfect choice, this fucking guy, Greg Turkington, playing the Baskin Robbins boss who fired Paul Rudd as soon as he finds out. He's being he's shitty. It's if I watched that with someone who didn't know, how much I like Neil Hamburger and Greg Turkington and all that stuff, and I was like, my favorite role was the Baskin Robbins boss. Like that's the essence of this fucking guy. They're like, that was your favorite? Like Men in Black, if I was like David Cross, or Bernard Gilkey, the center fielder for the Mets who gets hit with the head. That was my guy from that movie. He's like, that fucking guy?
Can a protagonist ever be that?
No, because they're the principal cast member. They like... It's someone forgettable who doesn't figure in pretty much into the end.
Because you just had
like Uncle Leo in Seinfeld. Like no one's being like, that's my guy. There's no glamour in that. He's not like an admirable person. Craig Feldspar in Malcolm in the Middle. Remember Lois's fat guy?
I wasn't sure if you were naming the actor or naming that. I saw you put up the counter, by the way. Nice.
The magician waiter from Saved by the Bell. He just pops in. He's useless. He's like proto Kramer. Like, because they have a very similar hair.
Even though...
and entrance
Well, how you say proto Kramer, I believe Saved by the Bell actually follows Seinfeld. Yes, because Seinfeld started in 89.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, it's nitpicky. But,
So, all this being said, I want to dedicate film discussion to,
this fucking guy.
Yeah. I think it's hilarious anytime you hear it. Like, for me, probably hear it from Bill Burr.
Yeah, I think
telling a story.
I think of it. I think of Boston.
Yeah.
Actually, when I think, because my first thought when you were telling me to find like intros or something to match, I was thinking like the entirety of The Departed. Well, just like getting in your head of what that.
Not like sourcing audio clips. I meant just to speak about just finding examples.
Yes, exactly. No,
so
I knew you
in
meant
The Departed, I couldn't even remember the guy's name, but my choice was the white bread generic guy.
Yeah,
who's
James Badgedale is the name of the actor. Yeah.
And this is not about the actors. This is about the characters.
And I love James Badgedale.
I'm sure they're all very nice people. It's kind of like how I get on like Cody Rhodes watching Dynamite. And I was like, this fucking guy.
They just play the role so well.
Yeah, he's
like Jason Alexander in Pretty Woman, and
or I guess it's like X-Pac in the DX. Like he's not like he's rarely anyone's favorite.
Yeah.
And it just opens up a whole. I think this is like fertile conversation territory. I don't know. Landscape.
I don't know anybody else who dedicates a podcast to like this specific type of character.
I think it will be fun.
Where does it really come from? Did you come up with it, or did you hear
with
it from
getting
someone?
into like
based on stand-up storytelling
it's within the last 3 years of my own personal
health.
Like, I mean, since the hard reset that I experienced, it was sometime then, and it was probably a joke I had with, like, an inside joke I had with myself. We watch movies by myself all the time. And I'm like, this fucking guy. It probably comes from watching Twin Peaks Season 3 by myself and then explaining to my friend Sam, who didn't, at the time, have too much of an interest in watching it himself. So I'm, like, explaining it, and I was probably using it a lot to describe Jim Belushi. In Twin Peaks
Belushi's like the entirety of his career is basically based on that.
Movies and shows. We are gonna mostly talk about movies, but TV is like good examples.
Yeah,
is like there can be more than one in a movie, and Twin Peaks is a land of this fucking guy. Like Norma's first husband in the original series was an ex-con named Hank. And he was just like shitty to Norma, Rashida Jones's mom, and like, you know, I mean, just inexcusable. But then at the end of the day, like even when like he's not in the Fire Walk with Me, and he's not even thought of, you know, beyond
and
his
everybody
point.
They come back to everybody on Twin Peaks pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much everybody.
Yeah,
anyone who didn't openly disparage David Lynch in social media, and then a few who did actually.
Yeah, which is
Julie Cruz, who did the main opening.
What do you think? Is that like forgiveness or something? That because I've seen a lot of people who like don't get along. Yeah. It's like they need each other, or it's like they're available or something. Like
we might never know.
Like Donald Trump and Omarosa.
Well, like, do you have like what's? Let's just pick a like movie.
Can I?
Go ahead.
So I always think of like
I'm done with the structured stuff. So
and we're at like 13:33.
That's good because we're both hungry. So.
Yeah, but I was just thinking about there were people who I worked with in film school, and we did like really good work together, but we like exhausted each other. We kind of didn't really like each other, but the results were so that we almost got put back together. And I remember where us both it's like we made good work together, but it's like, can we not work with each other? But a lot of times like in Hollywood it's like things come back around in circles. Like
well, think of it in this way. If in England, like in a general like sense of living, there is a word for this fucking guy. It's a job's worth. There's someone who's just like doesn't want to put the like minimal effort or break rules a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what those rules are depends. Like just to, you know, help
like
somebody.
Angela on The Office.
Right.
Yeah.
But who? Oh, this fucking guy on The Office. That's a good question. It might be
easy.
The sound guy.
Todd Packer.
Oh, that explains why he's one of my favorite characters. I thought it was like Jim, you like, yeah. But I think Todd Packer's a great choice.
Andy in some cases.
Andy is
I heard that he got like character assassinated essentially by the end of it because he had to shoot the Hangover movie, so the writers threw him in the trash basically.
What was Pam's ex's name?
Roy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimate.
Yeah.
I think him
or that's a great example.
Clark Duke. Maybe, but like...
right, yeah.
Or Zach Woods, Gabe.
Yeah.
But Gabe, you know...
He's so ineffective on the plot.
When given the opportunity. These fucking guys often graduate, you know, up to like, you know, as we've seen with the career of Ben Mendelsohn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he started off like this fucking guy.
Yeah.
And now he's the fucking guy. He's the villain in like Steven Spielberg's...
Ready Player One.
Yeah.
And he even says a line he can't say because it's PG-13, but he's like, this guy. Like,
this effing guy.
He says that about the protagonist when it's like he messes up his plans.
Well, do you know what Sam, our brother, would arguably this fucking guy of our family?
Ooh. Yeah. Is.
Do you know what he would call this podcast?
No. What?
This friggin' guy.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I think it's that Catholic upbringing of like, I always, sometimes, and I have no trouble swearing, but I don't like to liberally swear unless I'm on a roll. It feels good.
TFG.
A lot of people comment about, like, oh, you don't swear that, like, and I like having that it still has that impact.
Yeah.
But, well, it'll be tested with this podcast.
TFG, baby.
Yeah.
TFG Grand Prix.
Yeah.
We're going to take all of these fucking guys.
Yeah.
And gals. And girls.
And get them together.
Non-binary pals. I cannot wait for the day that we watch something.
Non-binary.
With someone gender fluid is just a real asshole in the movie.
Yeah.
And
the
then
only
we're
thing
like,
I can identify them with is being an asshole.
Man, Eddie Izzard. I was really glad that, you know, she had an opportunity to really get in the way. Speaking of Ocean's 13, who would you say?
Nagel?
Who?
That's Eddie Izzard's character.
No. Who is this fucking guy in Ocean's 13?
I want to think of the hotel guy.
The guy that the secret shopper.
Yeah.
Who gets his ass kicked. Yeah. That was my thoughts too.
Somebody
David,
from the Dice Factory, maybe.
Casey Affleck in real life.
Yeah.
You know, there's a real Sean Penn in the making.
I have to say, Casey Affleck and Scott Conn are such good pairings because I feel like they're people who probably had the same upbringing, and I feel Scott Conn should be more annoying. But I like him.
I feel like Scott Conn was probably more privileged because his dad was in the Godfather films, whereas Ben Affleck, Casey's father, was.
But I
only
feel that
in
matters,
Geely
that's a huge...
or the first Daredevil. The first Daredevil might be this fucking guy of the whole Marvel.
Oh, I love Daredevil.
And it's like Kevin Smith's role in that one.
Oh, yeah, Kirby.
The Nickelback
Kirby after Jack Kirby.
Or like Foggy from the show. I wanted to...
I hate Foggy from the show. Eldon Henson, shout out to you. Bad actor.
Part of this
is
to find like that fucking guy. Yeah. Man. This guy had lines in this movie. Like Sean Avery in Tenet.
Yeah.
You know, this one of these fucking guys of hockey.
And in a single line.
Oh, God. I just don't like him at all.
How did he get that role?
I don't know.
He knows people.
Yeah.
Gary Bettman.
I'm sure he
had something to do with it.
So he like kept like I don't know. I don't have the energy to even think about slandering.
Yeah. Gary.
He's an idiot. He just sucks. Like Sean Avery. This is why I wanted to say like we shouldn't talk about Sean Penn because that's all I'll talk about and I'll get off, or Johnny Depp because I spend too much time thinking about these fucking guys.
I'd like to clarify our stance on Johnny Depp is we're not on Johnny. We're anti-Depp. He's just kind of tired. Like, he hasn't put in
He lost the lawsuit that he said that it was slander for him being, like, a wife beater. And then he lost it. He lost that case. So it's, like,
and that's
legally
hard to do
set.
In the UK.
Legally set that you are allowed to call Johnny Depp a wife abuser.
Yeah.
It's
kind of funny of, like... Man, that's like not a mistake.
Taking him seriously?
Well, it's like
just
how...
like one of those fossils of the Harvey Weinstein Hollywood of like, you'll put this guy in this movie. And...
I always think it's a mistake if you're an actor to fight with like the magazines because like Tom Cruise, I remember with The Sun, another British newspaper, these British tabloid newspapers, they said that he like wasn't a good father or something like that, and then he sued. Or that he'd never seen his
like a
dog.
bad metric, because it was just like, I'll have you know that I was 3-time Father of the Year runner-up, you know, in my own family.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. But
like David Miscavige is kind of, well, he's a main adversary now. He's built his way up.
Mm-hmm. But
so it'd be like, sorry.
I was just going to say Tom Cruise sued The Sun or something. And in court, it went to court, and he, or on his lawyer's behalf, was forced to admit that it had been 110 days since he'd even seen his daughter. And it's like, you know, it's unfortunate. It's like, never pick a fight with the tabloids, because you'll always lose.
Well, isn't that like...
They're mysteriously funded by, like,
I think it's Rupert Murdoch.
People. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And I think it's
Murdoch or Soros or somebody.
I think it's Rupert Murdoch. You know,
he's Australian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well,
Australians,
I guess, like, just to give it a... Stay on topic here.
We're getting in too real here.
Well, just to keep it on this fucking guy.
Yeah.
This is like, you know, I think going to be a great jumping off point. We're going to pick a movie. Mm-hmm. And would you like to pick that movie?
I think, like, you pick it or I... like.
You should go ahead and pick it. I have one that I've been wanting to watch. But if you're just picking it at random...
I'm joking.
No, I think that'll be fun.
Orange County. I haven't seen Orange County in a long time.
I was going to pick Barry Lyndon.
If anyone, Barry Lyndon would be a good choice.
No, but Orange County, County, Barry Lyndon.
If anybody...
And then we'll either do an episode each, or maybe we'll talk about both.
You know, Scott Rudin produced this. Fun fact.
That doesn't mean very much to me.
He's an Oscar-winning producer.
That's neat. But
when people, by the way, say, because it's oh my gosh, it's like going to be the anniversary of this movie this month. Wow. When people say there are was this 2001 or 2004? But when people say no good movies ever come out in January, no good movies ever come out in January, tell them, you know what, Orange County came out in January. I'm
excited to see if, like, just off the top of my head,
the 18th anniversary.
John Lithgow.
Yes. His delivery: John Lithgow, Catherine O'Hara, Jack Black, Colin Hanks, Skylar Fisk,
that
Lily Tomlin, Mike White,
son of Carlton Fisk,
cameo by Ben Stiller.
Not Carlton Fisk. Who's the kingpin? Carlton Fisk is the
Wilson Fisk.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that's a nice family. They got a Chicago White Sox, Carlton Fisk. Anyways.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Wow. So are we settled on Orange County or Barry Lyndon?
No, we're gonna go Orange County, and then
for the anniversary.
And then I don't know if we'll do 2 movies an episode or 1.
I think we should just keep going till we get like the subject matter for it. It's like, I think we have enough for because I don't want to strain over an episode trying to think of something.
So we'll just see. But for right now, this has been. You know, we have the ground rules for, and hopefully
it'll become more structured.
We've set the scene for the This Fucking Guy Grand Prix. It's a very professional cinema podcast,
and it's called the TFG Grand Prix.
TFG Grand Prix.
I should have put the Christopher Nolan thing on here, by the way, that you gave me for that. I ripped it up.
That's cool. Yeah. There will be other chances to get more stickers. So. Yeah, thank you for listening if you got this far and you aren't related to us. So especially. Speaking of which, I was thinking about our whole cousins on Mom's side.
Yeah. Anthony is going to
hopefully he listens, but whatever. I was like, no! As soon as he said his name. But this fucking guy of our cousins is probably me. Because I got really drunk at Rachel's wedding.
But that's like
that was like my personal low point. And Sam fell down the stairs.
Yeah, we did a podcast on that. But
So,
I think,
once again, you might be in the running there. But of all the cousins, based on recent history, I think I got that one down.
I think that yours is the plot line on the TV show.
It is to myself.
Where it's the low point of one of like the sub-protagonists.
Without getting into the details.
I won't. No, we won't. But I'm just saying it's like the
I was the
low
one
point.
who brought it up.
But I'll accept.
I was just gonna say for our cousins, and that's how
yeah.
I feel. Because
I have somebody in mind, but I'm not going to say it.
Just goes to show that if you're looking at a group or a cast in this particular case,
it can be anyone,
and you can't figure out who this fucking guy is,
it's you.
It's probably you.
Yeah.
That's probably a Jeff Foxworthy joke or something.
Yeah.
You might be this fucking guy.
Shout out to Jeff Foxworthy.
Yeah. Bill Engvall is this fucking guy of that tour.
The Blue Collar Rodeo Tour.
Yeah, those four guys. I mean, Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah, Jeff Foxworthy, Bill Engvall, and the fourth
White,
guy.
Bill White.
Oh, right,
who's actually funny.
Oh, is he? Yeah.
Well, Jeff Fox, no, I'm not getting into this.
Well, he's funny in like the
he's
uncle guy you never see. He's the guy you talk to at a party.
He's the shining star of that.
Is he probably the most famous, like, who's maintained a
You
career?
couldn't even remember his name.
Jeff Foxworthy?
Oh, I thought you meant Bill White.
Yeah, Bill White. I couldn't remember. I'm saying that
because I was saying he was
Jeff
funny.
Foxworthy is the most famous of that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
and then Larry the Cable Guy, and then.
But his career is
like
it's
Bill
like Dane
Engvall had
Cook's.
that TBS show that no one remembers but me.
Yeah,
and then
which starred Jennifer Lawrence.
But
did you hear that?
But I still hear people quote Bill White. This is Bill White. Anywho, this is a terrible way to finish. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say there was a theory where because the flight attendant premiered last month, and somebody said here's a sliding doors moment, and it's like the Bill Engvall show and not Big Bang.
Ron White.
Yeah, Ron White. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I remember. I knew it wasn't Bill because there
remember
can't be
his
two
jokes.
Bills in the group.
It's not that the wind is blowing.
But a sliding doors moment. Somebody said it's like here's a theory. Kaylee Cuoco is the one who has Jennifer Lawrence's career, and Jennifer Lawrence has Kaylee Cuoco's career when the Bill Engvall show gets picked up.
Who was on what?
She was on the Bill Engvall show. She played Jennifer Lawrence played Bill Engvall's daughter on that show.
When?
But like I disagree with that for my own
because
reason.
of Gangbang Theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually like that show. They're like they have a like when you look at it isolated, writing aside,
Disagree.
they have like.
I don't want to talk about it.
I know, but they have a few good cast members. The guy who plays
that
Howard
might be true.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's kind of all you need on a sitcom.
But what we're here to find
is
in the
this
future.
fucking guy, not the this fucking.
I don't want to talk about the.
We're done with the Big Bang Theory.
Oh God, yeah, eternally.
Yeah.
And so,
and the rest of the country is We'll leave it at that.
Please leave it at this.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, see you next time with Orange County, I suppose.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.